Hi everyone, I've been tagged by the Kilted Goth to do the death tag. I'll show you his details and his video below. I'm going to have a go at this now. So I've got the questions in my lovely book and we'll have a go. So how do you want to die is question number one. I know that a lot of people would love to just die in their sleep. You know, they'd just like to drift off to sleep and then everything just kind of shuts down and they're never aware of anything happening. And this is actually possible that it might happen to me. So I have heart disease in my family. It runs back generations on both sides. I basically have hypermobility syndrome as well, which can affect your arteries and your veins and that kind of thing and make them more stretchy and much more likely to eventually just kind of burst. So eventually at some point I'm probably going to die of a heart attack. I'm hoping that this is going to happen while I'm asleep. And it's not going to be because of a blockage in my heart, it's just going to be because one of my arteries is just going to give up the ghost and just kind of bleed everywhere, and I'll be asleep and I won't be aware of it at all. That would be quite nice. I think that's probably quite a nice way to go. If I can make it to, well, my great grandmother, who was like the last person that I'm aware of that died in my family, was 86 when she died, so that was quite a good age. I'd quite like to make it to 86. If I can beat her by a decade and do 96, that would be amazing. But we'll see, we'll just kind of take every day as it comes. So question number two, what will happen to your YouTube channel? I don't know if they do with YouTube what they do with Facebook, but what I would like to happen to my Facebook profile is I would like to have it turned into a memorial page, which is what people recently did for a friend of mine who died. Simon from Children on Stun died last year, and they turned his page into a memorial page, and it's been lovely because people have been putting up little poems and photographs that they found of him and that kind of thing, and it's been really, really lovely for everybody to kind of see that. I don't know whether that kind of thing happens on YouTube, so whether they kind of freeze your account and people can then carry on going back and looking at your old videos. That would be quite sweet, that would be quite nice. But if not, you know, I'm going to store them all as MP4s and we'll see what happens in decades in the future when I die, you know. I don't know, maybe YouTube won't be around, it probably won't. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Who will you leave your money to is question number three. I don't really have any money. Who will I leave my camera equipment to? That would be Devay. I do actually have, this is really sad, I do actually have a pension from my old proper job, and I think I've set that up so that it goes to Devay. So if Devay's still about, then my money will go to him, bearing in mind that he's a bit older than I am and women obviously generally live longer than men. That's quite unlikely to happen, so I would probably leave it to my best friend's kids or possibly to a charity. I might leave it all to the cat, whatever cat I have at the time, I might leave it all to the cat, but to be, you know, held in trust by a charity or something like that. What will happen to your body? Question number four. I would like to be buried in a biodegradable casket of some description. I really loved the one that they had for Sophie Lancaster, which was basically cardboard. It was thick cardboard and it was all plain white and everybody got to write messages and stuff on the coffin. It was absolutely beautiful. It was really, really moving, really, really special. I'd quite like to have something like that so that people can write messages and that kind of thing on my coffin when my millions of fans come to my funeral. I wish. But yeah, so having something biodegradable that kind of is easy and isn't super expensive and that kind of thing. I don't want a big fuss. And there's no point in spending lots of money on, you know, ridiculous accoutrements for somebody who's already dead, right? I already want as many of my organs as possible to go to science, so I am a card-carrying organ donor, and I recommend that everybody who's watching this becomes a card-carrying organ donor, whether or not your organs are any good, because they'll be good to science if they're not good to put in somebody else who's, you know, dying and needs an organ. And you don't need your body after you're dead, right? You know, I mean, even if you believe in life after death, you're not taking your body with you, so why leave it to rot or be burnt when you can let bits of it go to other people who might then be able to live fulfilling lives. I actually saw a thing today on Facebook, a little video of a woman who got to see her son's heart beating via a ultrasound in somebody else's chest after her son died in a car crash, and that was just so moving and so special and so absolutely amazing, you know, that her son had left his body to whoever needed it, essentially. I think that's an incredibly generous and beautiful thing to do. So the rest of my body, whatever's left, bung it in that casket, bung it in the ground, preferably in a woodland burial ground or something like that, and then plant a tree over me. I'd really, really like to have something like an apple tree or some sort of fruit tree, not pears, I don't like pears, but some sort of fruit tree, because then people will be able to eat the apples and the fruits that have come from my body, and that would be really cool. It's kind of cannibalism, only kind of not, you know, and I think that's really cool. Question number 5, what do you want your funeral to be like? I'm not going to be there, so I don't really care, but I would like it to be full of joy and remembrance of my life and people's memories of having spent really good times with me. I went to a humanist funeral a few years ago of another friend who unfortunately got hit by a car, and it was so beautiful hearing everybody's stories of their time spent with him and special anecdotes and funny things, and it was really, really, really sweet. And I think I'd much rather have a humanist funeral where everything was focused on the people who were there rather than on some guy on a cloud up there who, let's face it, doesn't exist anyway. Yeah, so I'd like people to kind of spend my funeral remembering my life and remembering the good times with me. I think that's really, really important actually. And afterwards, I would like you to all have a damn good wake, please. I would love for you to have a big party, and I know, you know, some people might be really, really sad that I've gone, maybe, but at the end of the day, I want you to be happy. I want you to carry on with your lives and do the things that you really, really want to do with your lives, and just kind of take this as a life's too short thing, and we've got to do the things that we want to do now, because, you know, one day we're not going to have any more time left. You know, I mean, I have spent funerals sobbing my guts out, so I understand that it can be really, really, really sad, but, you know, if you can, try and be happy, please. So, question 6. What will you miss the most that will exist after your death? I won't be there, so I kind of won't miss it. But, okay, so I read a thing the other day on a science website that said about trialling using stem cells to bring people back to life. So I'm going to miss that, because, you know, that would be quite cool if somebody could, you know, if I die and somebody repairs everything that's wrong with me and then brings me back to life, that would be quite fun. But if I die before that happens, then obviously I'm not going to have the opportunity. I mean, you can imagine just such incredible futures, that, you know, flying cars and finally no longer having a dependency on fossil fuel, and finally humanity moving out amongst the stars and finding other planets. You know, I'll miss that. I will miss that, you know. I'd love to be there when we start to colonise other planets. That would just be amazing. But, you know, one lifetime is enough, right? It's fantastic to actually get a lifetime, and if I make it to 86 or 96, gosh, all the things that I'll already see, there'll be, you know, the consolation prize. There'll be an amazing, amazing consolation prize. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing the future now, you know. How do I want to be remembered? That's the last question. So I would like to be remembered through my music, you know, and I'd like you to remember all the good times, like I said before. I want you to think about all the fun that we had. I want you to think about all the hugs that we had. I want you to think about all the stupid, mad, crazy, ridiculous things that I did and said. I want to be remembered with grace. I want to be remembered with happiness. It's all very well kind of looking back on your time and thinking, oh God, I wish I'd said and done this and that and the other, and, you know, I get that, because I have been in that position. But at the end of the day, I want you to remember the good times. Really, really want you to remember the good times and the mad things that we did, and the brilliant things that we did, and, you know, think about my music and carry on holding that torch and carrying that torch of just mad, crazy individuality and being who you are and being proud of who you are, because that's who I am, that's what I am, that's everything that I stand for, and I think it's really important that that carries on. So that's it, that's the death tag. Anybody else who wants to do the tag, do the tag. I'll put the questions below. And yeah, see you all again very soon. Bye!